So it's been a few hours since Gohan and Gotens EZA info did come out. It came out at 1 a.m. my time, and right now you can see it is 10:30 a.m. my time. So about 9.5 hours. Now we've actually had a little bit of gameplay out. We have seen, the numbers with calculations and stuff, and I think that a lot of people are actually like souring a little bit on this Gohan and Goten EZA. Not only with just their details, but the numbers they have. So just straight up, I've seen a lot of the issues with people is that they're kind of comparing this unit to like Cooler or Physical LR Ultimate Gohan, right? Where it's like very heavy offense, but like unlike some of those two units, this unit isn't really as strong defensively, right? I mean, if you take a look at some of these numbers here, I mean, in a not really winged situation, this unit is 500k to 900k, like more like 600k to a 1 mil defense range, which is good for normals for sure. Once they super attack, the issue is that you're not really going to be seeing this too often. I think All in the Family, not really many units that link well with them that you'll run All in the Family with. And then it's like this level of defense here, it's like this is not enough for supers, and the issue is that people are like, okay, well, they're very heavy offense based, but they have some inconsistencies with ki, and on top of that, they just get one shot by these super attacks, just at any phase of the fight, really, because they're a build up unit, and even when they're max build up, which takes 10 attacks, right, they can have issues against these super attacks the majority of the time, like Metal Cooler Core, or let's say the Sin Shenron event specifically, along with that the Cell Max event, right? This unit, they're not really going to be looking that hot there in terms of supers, but I think offensively they're still really strong, especially if you do hit the 24 key. And I think a lot of people do agree that offensively they are really, really good there. I mean, in fact, like overall damage wise, they're probably better than the Blue Fusions. The issue is defense, right? And like they for example have like guaranteed dodge. Well, this unit doesn't have any defensive tech. No dodge, no guard, no damage reduction. And at this point, I mean, we've had the same like general level of bosses like damage since since February of 2022, which is basically a year and a half from now. So I think that's a lot of people's issues. We have so many units that do mega damage, like kind of not as necessarily high as this unit can sometimes, but they're also like really rounded well defensively. And it's like, this unit defensively could have a lot of issues. Especially in some fights where you don't even have them built up. This is fully built up, right? 10 attacks is a lot to ask for. Even if they could do like 4 attacks per turn, that's basically, sometimes turn 5, even turn 7 in situations where this unit is not even fully built up. Depending if you're like getting 24 key early and one-shotting. But we'll talk about that here. Let me refresh one more time. And I think that, again, people have been like slowly more getting unimpressed with their kit, because I see a lot of comparisons to like LRSTR Cooler and LR Ultimate Gohan. I mean, Cooler came out like, 9 months ago. LR Ultimate Gohan came out around 6 months ago. Well, no, a little over 5 months. No. Yeah, a little over 5 months ago, nearing 6 at the end of this month, right? And I think people just kind of wanted this unit to stand out a little more. They're also very basic, right, in terms of they're really just stats, right? Let's take a look here. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. On par with LR Cooler, yeah, again, the issue is Cooler came out 9 months ago, like around that time frame, right? I don't think it's necessarily like the worst thing. Cooler is still like a really good unit, but it's like we're kind of like in a, not necessarily like a different era, but it just, while the boss's power creep haven't really like gone up, the power group of units compared to each other have, right? I think it's a thing, right? I think people would want an EZA like in the middle of 2023 to be stronger-ish than like a unit that came out almost a year ago at this point. Very good, but gonna age out quickly. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think they're gonna age just fine, given we don't get another like major power jump. I think the only issue that we could see is like in this situation, Sin Shenron's normal attacks are gonna hit them for a good amount of damage before they super, and that isn't really ideal, right? I mean, if you have support, they should be okay, but like, you know, this is 50% support right here. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's out for the quotes now. Let's see the responses. No damage reduction, guard, or dodge immediately bad. Some of the community today. I feel like for an easy A, I'm not like, oh, these guys suck, right? For an easy A unit, I'm fine with them. I've learned to temper my expectations for especially easy A units because they're not always going to be hitters, really. And I guess technically this guy is like a really hard hitter, right? Especially when you reach the 24 key. But I do feel like that people are downplaying how strong they're going to be offensively compared to how good their defense is, right? I don't have their offense numbers pulled up, but again, if you hit this 24 key, you get this, and then this is like built up at least like halfway, even. Like, they're gonna be doing a lot of damage, man. It's gonna be really crazy. I mean, of course, you want a Goku attacking the same turn, but like their best partner is pretty much just Carnival Goku, slot 1, you know, guard unit. So you should be fine in that scenario. And I love that they have high chance on their super attack rather than the medium chances on both of them. I think that's going to really help with like consistency. So that's going to be really good as well. But yeah. Let's see. There's a response here. Because of the unit age like milk, just like when they did when they first came out. I don't really agree with that. They're right. I mean, again, it's like, give this unit like guard if Goku's in rotation instead of like this extra additional. And they're probably like a lot better, right? And it's like the difference between them being mega offense focused and them being more balanced. Like, if this, instead of this additional attack, if this was like guard, this unit might even be better than just a blue fusion straight up, right? Because like hitting their, yeah, I mean, they would lose extra super, but it's like, it's not like the worst thing in the world to lose this comparative to gaining guard, right? My personal opinion though. Basically, super class are cooler without the guaranteed additional. Lack of defensive tech. Key issues remain to a degree. Build up should have been buffed. Full crit build. Otherwise, you personally don't see any point in winning them. Damage is their purpose. I agree. I actually built mine with like 30 crit. I think that should be pretty good. But one thing I do like is that I think a lot of people are like focusing on their key struggles early on, which definitely do exist because they build up 5 key here. They don't have like prepared for battle or like many like they really don't have any like, you know, actual key link like shocking speed, prepared for battle or something like that. They have Golden Warrior, which is like a 1 key link and it's kind of like mediocre, honestly. But actually I'm okay with them not like doing mega damage early on, because if they're hitting like 24 key like turn 1, like they're gonna have struggles building up in some of these like early phases of bosses, right? Like Red Zone Broly would have screamed the first phase. Let's say what other boss can I think of? Like Metal, well, I guess not Metal Cooler Core, right? So in general that have type disadvantage. I feel you guys are getting what I'm trying to say, right? Like if they're like full force early on, they could potentially have struggles building up. Like if they're on turn 2 and the boss is gonna like, you know, be like halfway HP and they get 24 key, they just pretty much just like one shot, especially if they crit, right? You want to build them with crit. And then that just hampers them building up. Whilst them having key struggles early on, when the boss isn't really hitting like hard enough that you need them to get like quad supers, or you know, it's not like they get defense from this 24k anyways, right? But you need to like kill the boss before they kill you, right? You have the opportunity to build up. So I kind of like that about their design. And then when you're on like turn 3, turn 5, like their second and third turns respectively, and you have this key build up, then that's when it's fine to start really shooting out this mega damage and start one-shotting these bosses, because, you know, you're going to have some build up. They're going to be more consistent defensively in case they, you know, let's say they don't crit, you don't get some of these additional supers off, right? And that actually, you know, the key struggles early, it actually kind of comes into play with that. I think that's like an interesting design. It's kind of similar to like the Kai Goku design, where it's like he's over time he's like weaker offensively, and that helps him really stack up and get his hits in. And then near the end of the fight, when you get like, I think it's 9 hits, right, he needs to get. Actually, let me bring him up, right? But when you get like that 9th hit there, and then he is able to get like that extra 120% attack. That's like where it's like a game changer. Yeah, 9 attacks. That's a lot to ask for to get hit. But once you get this, that's like at the end of the fight, then where you could really use his active skill, and then it gives you quite a lot of more damage, right? I think that's a pretty cool kind of design about that. That I feel like people aren't really like considering. Like, you don't want to one-shot these early phases, so that's why he's a unit that builds up over time. They're good. You like them. They're very good. They're very good, but they're the type of unit age up fast than units with tech. Yeah, I mean, like, a unit that's going to be guarding, or like the blue fusions, you have guaranteed dodge in turn 4, and then they're doing like similar levels of damage, are going to age out better than this unit, right? That's very true. They're insanely good. You like them pretty much what you expected. Big damage, you so you're very pleased. See, I think there's a thread by Future Dokkan, one of the hybrid Saiyan fanatics. Very strong unit. You're pleased that next to an optimal partner, they could look really strong, but they have 2 issues. Defensive issues. Wasn't expecting them to gain guard or damage reduction, but they should have been strong to the point where they could at least survive, avoid a super from one of these hard bosses like the Year 5s and Piccolo, right? I mean, like, yeah, Year 5s have the guaranteed dodge. Piccolo Jr. has his giant form, but his defense gets like high enough to where he could tank these super attacks even still. Cooler a unit is very similar like this, where he could get the super attack tanking. Even, again, I'll see a lot of people still talking about physical Ultimate Gohan, but even he has his like 3-turn guard, where he could potentially survive some of these super attacks, like against, let's say, the core, or, you know, in very rare situations, even Broly maybe, but like some of these bosses, he will have that guard. And Gohan also, you know, there's an argument where you have Orange Piccolo next to him, and it's like he doesn't really have to worry about taking super attacks on that Orange Piccolo team, right? Because you have the giant form, right? That last pass of 3 turns, and you're cooking with there, right? Well, this unit doesn't have like a partner that, like, you know, can avoid super attacks. It's really, you have to hope the super attack is not on slot 2. With this unit, right? You gotta be like, please don't super me in slot 2, right? And then the Goku limitation affects their ability buff teams that need them, hybrids in particular. I mean, yeah, you could say like certain teams that just does not have a Goku on it, like this unit just performs worse on. I honestly expected them to get a buff with Goku on the team or the turn, because it's literally just what happens like in the movie and the active skill. Like, they're gonna add something like this and make this unit conditional. It was just clear as day in my opinion. But like, it sucks for certain teams like Hybrid Saiyans, you know, siblings bonds. Let's say, what other team maybe? I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like Hybrid Saiyans and siblings bond are like some of the weaker teams here. Like Movie Heroes doesn't really need buffs. Goku Family doesn't really need buff. Earthbred Fighters, Power of Wishes, Bond of Parent Child. Like these units, like these teams don't really need buffs. But it's like Hybrid Saiyans, siblings bonds, you know, that need help. And it's like these 2 teams just don't really get help from that. I mean, there's a whole discussion about Hybrid Saiyans, and it's like, well, I mean, God could release Hybrid Saiyans, but if you're gonna run like, you know, a category mission, this guy won't work as your leader. You're gonna have to run physical Ultimate Gohan, right? They have been like very funny with this category since 2021. You can clearly tell they don't want this category to be like it was in 2021. If you know, you know, right? good times. Is there an extra quote here? Let me see. He's just good. That's it. I think that's pretty much all for the quotes here. Nothing special like the blue fusions. This is false. The blue fusions are really, really good. Pretty cool. Like them more than Eijo Gohan. They're good. I mean, I like that a lot. I see a lot of people are saying they're extremely powerful, but there is like a fair criticism for it. I do think that certain like people are like kind of just slightly overblowing it, but I do agree that it is, you know, nice that, you know, well, not really nice. I do see that it is unfortunate that, you know, defensively they could be an issue. And certain setups they could struggle with key, even like on turn 2 or 3. It really depends on this. This is per keys for obtained, but I heard that this is actually per type keys for obtains. Some people are saying that's type keys for specifically, which does suck, right? But I mean, there are again amount of rainbow orb changes you can run, like Path to Power Kid Goku. Certain situations you can run Tech God Goku, right? And Tech God Goku would even give them their passive, right? So yeah, this unit kind of needs, like, I mean, there were always a unit, like when they first came out, that needs the team to sort of like prop them up. And it's kind of the same now. You could argue even a little more so because now they have the Goku requirement when before they didn't really have that. And you really want like a rainbow orb changer with them too. Especially like, you know, a little early on. But again, you don't really want to, I think, hit 24k early on, in my opinion. Not a fan of their design. It's like they copy pasted LR coolers can to these guys, made it more restrictive and move best parts. I mean, these offensive units are just kind of the same to each other at this point, right? So I'm not really like surprised. Like these offensive units are all just units that build up key and attack when they're attacking, and then they have like 2 additional attacks that could be supers or something like that, right? That's like RNG super attacks, right? And maybe sometimes they get extra buffs at 24 key or something, right? It's like they're very similar, like how like every defensive unit is just like stacking guard, you know, maybe some dodge. They get defense when they get hit, right? They're good, probably worse than the Bluesians and AGO Gohan. I don't know about this. I want to use them first. I feel like I would have them as like, if we're ranking like Dokkan Fest LR EZAs, I might have them above AGO LR Gohan. Because this unit in their role, I think like in their intended role, will perform better than what Gohan is in his intended role. And it's like you can't like, you could transform with Gohan a lot easier now, but I don't know. I think you guys kind of get where I'm trying to come with that. Like running like an Android like team with Gohan on it is kind of, it's always just kind of weird, right? Very strong. We can see them aging poorly. Haven't seen them in action. Great slow one partner, tech corner for Goku, great floating units for pushing his potential further. I mean, yeah, I talked about what's his face, this unit, right? Which is why I have the 50% support here. This World Tournament Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. He's gonna help them out quite a lot. This unit is gonna really prop them up. Like offensively with this unit on rotation, things are gonna get crazy. This is gonna be really nasty. Best hybrid unit in the wild, wish it was on global. Yeah, it is. It is unfortunate. I think that's another thing. I don't know if people like are just kind of upset that, you know, this should have been for Goku Day, which is true. But I don't really think that's the case, but I wonder if some people, I feel like some people are still upset over this, right? Community's not going to be happy. Too good in this game, breaking a power creep. Too bad when this happens. Okay. Not the first option, most of the teams, but they're fine. They're easy, that's happening. Let's read a couple more, like three, 4 more, then I'll be done. They seem good, but you also have to see them in game. So per unit release showcase means nothing. Do you see them in several situations? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not gonna say for sure, but I'll give my opinion of them currently. They went all out. You spent something like 100 start of turn and then 100% from attacking. They decided to take the extra step and make them freaking top tier. And yeah, that's good. I still think that they're a really like top tier unit. It's just that, you know, they're not gonna be good against supers. But I think offensively they're gonna be really, really strong. Like really, really good, right? Like top tier offense, like top tier offense. They're respectable units, but at the end of the fight can do spectacular damage, my bad, but defense that can allow them to hold their own maybe against supers. Certain super attacks. Really just AGO Broly, because they have tab to manage. I mean, yeah, they wouldn't be able to take Omega Super because they're tab disadvantage there. They'll be fine against Sin. Like, not super attacks, but they'll be fine in general against Sin fight, but Super will probably just, like, destroy them. Unless you get, like, again, the Mega Juice rotation. Like, if it's like this, like, somehow, then you'll live, but you're not really going to run this guy in Sin, because, again, Sin's AoEs, and it's just going to be pretty nasty. But, I mean, even, yeah, it's 50% support. I mean, like, with this, could they survive Sin Super? Maybe barely. Because you have to come on all this, like, they have this, like, what, 533k. Like, over half of that is just stacked up defense, which is not affected by Sin's defense debuffing. Maybe they barely live. Potentially, right? Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it there. I don't really have too much else to say. AGO Gohan is better. Best Esther Kulu jumper. I actually don't know what that means, but sure. Let me know what y'all think. I think it's interesting to see the community's like kind of thoughts on this. A lot of people are placing around LR cooler level. I could see that. but I want to use them, right? I want to get like a good judgment of them in game. I think the issue is just always going to be super attacks. If they get tagged by a super attack, they're just a lot of times just going to die. A lot of people compare them to Cooler, but what I'm thinking is like Z Duo, like the Majin Buu Saga Z Duo, right? The 8th anniversary unit, right? A little similar to that, where it's like a very strong offensive unit, but it's like they're just gonna get creamed by super attacks. That's who I'm thinking of more so than, you know, Cooler or Piccolo Jr. or Ultimate Gohan, right? That unit is comparable. It's funny enough, they actually share a couple of links, but you're not really going to run this unit in Power Wishes, I feel, because there's no strong, like, Slot 1 Super Saiyan Goku on that team. Whatever. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.